So we're going to go into the PID settings, and so right now I have it tuned up, but we're going to change everything, roll, pitch, and yaw. We're going to change the values all down to 0. So so P, I, and D are all going to 0, and we're going to show you how this thing flies without this tune. So we have all of the PID gains turned all the way down to 0, and we're going to see and demonstrate how this quadcopter flies. So we're going to arm it, and we're going to see how it responds. So it doesn't even fly. Basically, with the PID gains all turned down to 0, it doesn't fly. The system's not stable. So we're going to go into profile, and then we're going to change our PIDs. So we're going to start by increasing the P gain. We're going to put all the P gains up to 10, and we're going to see how it responds. So when all the gains were 0, the system was unstable, and inputs were not even heated. So as you can see, we've put all of our P gains up to 10 for roll, pitch, and yaw. We're going to go back, and we're going to save and reboot. Okay, so now we're going to test this drone out with our P gains up to 10. Okay, so P gains are up to 10 at this point. We're going to test out how this drone flies with only P gains of roll, pitch, and yaw of values of 10. Okay, so let's give it a try. So now what we're seeing is when we throttle up, we can actually control side, side, and then a little bit of back and forward. We're actually going to try to see if we can get the system up in the air. So let's step back. So as you can see, when you move it, when you go forward, it's very floppy. It's kind of like a boat. Very slow to respond. We see that it's the yaw is out of control. It's there's a lot of error in this system. See, with controls, this is not a stable system. I'm not even yawing and it's turning. See, it's spinning itself around. There's nothing I can do to control it. So we have this is a lot of error that we're seeing here. But in terms of going forward and backwards, we can generally control it. See, we're going forward and backwards. But the yaw is very inaccurate. It's there's a lot of error with the yaw term, probably because of the propellers. But generally it flies. What we've proved here is that with an I gain of 10, it'll fly, except there's a lot of error. Or sorry, with P gains of 10, it can fly, but there's a lot of error. So I think what we have to do now is we'll continue to adjust the P gain, and we'll see how with a larger P gain if it responds better. We'll keep the error, and then later on we'll correct the error. So we go into profile, go under PIDs. We're going to turn our P gains up to, let's do 30 for all of our P gains. Like I said earlier, we're starting with P gains. We want to get it responding well to our input, and then we'll correct the error with the I gain and dampen the system with the D gain. So for roll, pitch, and yaw, we have PID gains of 30. We're going to go back. We're going to save and reboot. You'll hear the chiming of the motors. Okay, and let's test this out in the air. So just from being on the ground and rolling, we can see that it's pretty quick to react to the input. We're gonna get it up in the air a little bit. Yeah, so if we look back and forth, you see how fast we can go back and forth. So we can see it's a little more snappy right here. Roll. Okay, we're gonna land it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change and increase our P gain even more. That flies pretty well, and it's much more snappy than it was with P gains of 10. So we're getting better control already. Okay, so as you can see, all of our P gains were 30. We're gonna change them and turn them up to 50. And we're gonna see how responsive the drone is with that. So roll, pitch, and yaw are all turned up to 50 for P gain. We're gonna check to see how this works, make sure we don't have any oscillations. And basically we're gonna continue to turn up the P gain until we start to see some sort of oscillation, or maybe too much feedback that causes a problem. We're gonna save and reboot, and up next will be the test with PID gains for the P term of 50. So here's the drone. We turned up our P gains to 50, and we're gonna see how responsive it is, and we're gonna make sure there aren't any oscillations and see how it reacts. So here we go. We've armed the drone. We're gonna do our ground test. Very snappy now. So I'm sure once we get it up in the air, it'll be just as snappy. Before, it was a little more difficult to pitch and forward and backwards, but now it's easier. I think it's going to be snappy, so here we go. We're gonna go back and forth and see how it reacts. We're gonna yaw. So as we can see, there's actually no oscillations even with prop wash. So say we're going down, no oscillation at all, which is really good. So we're gonna get close to it, and we're gonna show you how it pitches. Okay, we're going back to the ground. Okay, we're here with the drone again. We have P gains of 65, and we're gonna see how it reacts, see if we have diminishing returns or not, and see if there's any oscillation. So here we go. Let's do a ground test. It does seem like it's sped up in terms of reaction time. We're up in the air. There's no prop wash going down. No prop wash at all. Things very good. As we can see, we can move it very fast. Yaw is a little harder to control, but I'm doing quick, snappy input. Let's pay attention to the yaw. Pretty quick yaw. Forward. We go side to side. Actually, is responding quite well. Disarmed. So that's the end of this video for P gain. I think we're going to turn it up one more time, see how it reacts, and then we'll start adjusting our I and D gain. So I for error and D for the dampening in the system. Okay, so we're getting into our menu. We go to Profile, PID Tuning. We're going to increase our P gains even higher. I think this is the last time we're going to do it. We're going to turn them right up to 75. We did see better response at 65. Faster response. And there's still no oscillation, so we're finding that it's probably going to be suitable if we turn them up to 75. So let's go back, and then let's save and reboot. You're going to hear the chiming of the motors, and we'll pick up in a little bit. So we have P gains at 75. We're going to test it out, see how it reacts. Do a ground test. We're going to get it up in the air. Little oscillation test, no oscillations at all. We're going to go side to side. Okay, so I don't know if you heard it, but so this is a sign that the P gains are too high. Or bring the drone back to us so we can get up close. I'm going to take the stick and I'm going to move it and roll to the right. And what you'll hear, you see that? That's the perfect example of an oscillation. We're going to try to catch it a couple more times. So we're going to get up close. See that? So that's oscillation. That means we turned our P gains too high. So what we're going to do is adjust them back down. 65 was pretty good. We can fine tune the P gains to a good value that we want them at. Right now, it's quite evident P gains are too high. Okay, so we changed our P gains for roll, pitch, and yaw back to 65 because that's a good value. There wasn't any oscillation and it's quick to react. Now what we're going to do is we're turning the I gain for the yaw axis up to 10. We're just starting low and we're seeing if that corrects the error in yaw, because as you see, the yaw has been kind of drifting in flight without any of my input. So let's give this a try. So as you can see, it's still rotating. We got a little bit of back and forth. Some of that's from wind input, but still it shouldn't be doing that. I think we can tune this out more. I'm not putting any yaw input and it's spinning to the left and to the right a little bit. It's minute, but it's definitely noticeable. So like right now it's not doing too bad. When I go and let off, it's pretty good, it's pretty snappy. This hasn't changed anything yet. Let's bring it down to the ground. We're gonna turn I gain up a little bit more and see how it reacts. Okay, here we go. So we changed the I gains and the yaw axis, and we're gonna see if it corrects the error. So here we are. As we can see, I'm not putting any input in the yaw axis, and I'm seeing a very slight amount of drift, very slight. It's turning a little bit. Yeah, see how it's drifted a little bit already. So say if we let it yaw quickly and then stop, it's pretty accurate. It's not going over too much, but it's also pretty crisp. Yaw is a little bit harder to tune out, it seems, but it's pretty crisp. I'm going to do a really quick stick input here and yaw. Kind of got away from us there, we'll come close. Yeah, so that's pretty accurate. Let's bring it down to the ground. I think we like that I gain, so we'll leave it there.